Welcome to the Uncensored Society podcast, where guests share their insights, experiences, and tactics to help you accelerate your business. So building, scaling, and monetizing your business is made easier. And now, your host, Suthar.
Imagine when you're talking to a group of people about your business and they respond with, "Wow, you're the world's best kept secret." Or, "Where were you 6 months ago when I needed you?" That's exactly what happened to me. Hi, my name is Suthar, and I'm going to show you how to go from invisible to visible by using the power of guest podcasting. When you realize that your messaging isn't reaching the people that really need you, at that point, you know something has to change. I remember watching a video clip with Grant Cardone, and he said in order for your business to be successful, there's 3 things that you need to do, and that's promote, and promote. See, he said that you've got to scream it from the rooftops and let people know who you are and what you do. And that in no matter what direction they turn in, that they see you and they hear you. That's when I decided to use podcast guesting to expand my reach and to let business owners know that there is a solution to the problem and that they don't need to look any further. You come to learn very quickly that in fact, you're not only doing a disservice to yourself and your business, but you're doing a disservice to everybody out there that needs your help. People don't know what they don't know, and it's your duty to ensure that you give value and educate others. Today, you're going to learn the 5 critical components to successfully getting booked on podcasts right now. While most people's plan is to get booked on podcasts, have the episodes released, everybody will love it and share it, and then they'll make bank. But it's not as simple as that. In fact, did you know 95% of pitches are rejected by podcasters? After being a victim of rejection again and again, I discovered this the hard way. But today, you get to cheat and you get the easy way. And you're probably thinking, why would podcasters reject your application? Well, there's 4 main reasons why. And the first is the lack of personalization during your outreach. The second, they didn't see you as a good fit for their show. Number 3, they're not currently looking for any guests as they already have a waiting list. Number 4, the lack of flexibility. But in 5 simple steps, not only am I going to show you how to overcome these objections, but I'm also going to show you how you can become a sought-after podcast guest. Step 1, do your research. Listen to 2 or 3 of their episodes to really see and get the feel of what the show is all about. See if you can actually bring value to their audience. And you may find that a talk has already been done on a very similar topic around your talk. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the podcaster won't want you on their show. But if you can provide a different perspective on this topic, this will intrigue the podcaster and they will most likely reach out to you because they want to learn more about this perspective that you can bring to their audience. Step 2, do not send a generic copy and paste email or message to the host. You see, a podcaster will learn very quickly if you're being dishonest. So if you tell them that you have watched a couple of their episodes and you haven't, eventually you will get caught out. Because like most podcasters, they always like to get feedback. So they might follow up with a question like, which episode did you listen to? Or what takeaways did you get from that? And if you start stumbling on answering those questions, it's going to be pretty obvious that you didn't actually watch these episodes. In fact, something very similar happened to me. When I was first promoting the launch of my podcast and letting everyone know that these episodes are going to be released soon, I received an email from someone stating that they really like my podcast, that they've listened to a couple of episodes, which kind of stopped me in my tracks because I hadn't released a single episode yet. And so, me being my cheeky self, I did send a response and I asked them, "Oh, which episode did you like?" And to this day, I have not received a response. I wonder why. And so, sending a copy and paste generic email doesn't work for every podcaster, and it doesn't make you look good. You see, the biggest mistake that most guests make is that they think that being on a podcast as a guest is all about them, when in fact it has everything to do with the host and their audience. Step 3, make it easy on the host. Remember that podcasters are getting in applications, emails, messages every single day that they're having to sift through. And every podcaster has a different process, a different structure. Respect their process. Some may have a short application and some have a 6-page application. Some may even ask you to get on a pre-screening call with them. Whatever it is, you don't want to say no, because the minute you say no, or the minute you don't send in the right information in the right format that they have asked you for, you can pretty much be sure that they're going to turn around and say, "No, we don't want you on our show." And that is something that we're trying to avoid. So make sure you get the information sent to them as quickly as possible and in the right format. And if they want to get on a pre-screening call, then go ahead and do so. This also gives you an opportunity to learn more about the podcast host and find out what they want for their audience and their show. It's a way of building a relationship with the host. And if they do get on a call with you, they might ask you to make some tweaks to your original angle for your talk. And if you can do so, then try and make that happen, because that's going to get you bumped to the top of the yes pile and get you scheduled in a lot quicker, because they're now excited for your topic and to release your episode. So anything that you can do to make it easier for the host and make sure that you can bring value to their audience, try and get that done. Podcast has evolved dramatically in the last 2 years, and it's no longer audio only. There's some podcasters out there that do it through video, where they will release your episode on YouTube, or there's some that actually do it live stream, where your audience can interact with you whilst you're giving your talk. Many new podcasts have been released and launched in the last couple of years, and they continue to do so. However, there's still a lot more business owners, entrepreneurs, speakers, authors, thought leaders that are still trying to get on podcasts as guests. But the competition has grown, and you have to fight even harder to get the yes rather than the no, or sorry, we already have a waiting list. We need to ensure that your application gets pushed to the top of the pile with a big fat yes. And you're probably thinking, how do I do that? Well, the next 2 steps are going to be crucial in learning how to do this. Step 4, learn to improvise. As I was saying earlier, podcasts can come in a form of video or live stream. This not only means that you need to ensure you look good in front of the camera, but it also means that no matter how much you prepare, always expect the unexpected, especially if it's live stream. In fact, when I had my first live stream, I was super excited. As I was doing my talk, I could see all these messages coming through. People absolutely loved the value I was giving them, and it was giving me such a buzz. And then it happened. All of a sudden, I got a knock on the door. It was my mum, and she said, "Just to let you know, I've done your laundry and I've put your underwear on your bed. You can imagine I was totally mortified. I wanted the ground to swallow me up whole. I couldn't believe what just happened. I just thought, I'm a complete failure. But to my shock, what happened next was completely unexpected. All of a sudden, these messages from the audience were coming in so much faster. And all of a sudden, they were saying things like, wow, she is hilarious. I want her on my podcast. I couldn't believe it. And once I finished my episode, the host even said to me that he has a 3-day event and he would love for me to be a speaker on his stage for his event. All of a sudden, after that episode, I got booked on 4 podcasts and on stage, which shows you that sometimes some of these things that you think are complete disaster are actually a blessing in disguise. And in fact, people find a lot more relatable because you have made these mistakes. They can relate to it. You're seen as a human being just like them. You see, how we perceive ourselves and how others perceive us are completely different. Have fun on these podcasts. Learn to laugh at yourself and just go with it. You never know what's around the corner and you never know what's going to transpire. Step 5. Ask the host for feedback. Ask them questions like, what did you think of my talk? Are there any improvements you would suggest? Now, you see, not many podcasters get asked these questions, and so it opens up the conversation and gives them permission to give you constructive criticism. Not only would this allow you to make tweaks, but it will also help you with your script and become a better guest. Now, if all the podcaster is doing is giving you praise, then the next question to ask him is, do you recommend any other shows? And if so, would you be able to do an introduction? You see, this will boost the number of podcast appearances that you do without you having to search for shows. Have you heard of work smart, not hard? Well, this is where that fits in. Once I realized these steps and I put them into practice, all of a sudden it happened. I got booked on 100 podcasts in 60 days. If you want to be that person that wants to change your business, doesn't want to be the world's best kept secret and wants everyone to know, you need to get booked on podcasts. And guess what? I've got a free gift for you. If you go to getbookedonpodcast.com, not only will you get the steps on how to get booked on podcasts successfully, but you'll also learn how to become a sought after podcast guest. I'm going to be putting the link in the chat. Go to getbookedonpodcast.com. And I cannot wait for all of you to start getting booked on podcasts today. Thanks for listening to the Uncensored Society podcast at www.uncensoredsocietypodcast.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get this and every other episode that's coming out. We have lots of great stuff coming, so make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss it. And thank you in advance for all the reviews and comments. I appreciate it so much, and I look forward to serving you in next week's episode.